I'd like to call up Mike Newman to make an announcement. Mike.
Well, as you've all heard, as you joined the meeting, Ron Leister informed me this morning, and he may have something to add to my comments regarding Mike Usom's passing. But Mike was just one of the most wonderful members of our club, and his wife Sheila was always there to support him. But I think, his classification was plumber. He was plumber to many stars. And I was one of the Rotarians who often was calling Mike when we had problems, and he replumbed our home. Many of us relied on him for that occupation. But to our club, in my mind, he was a gentle giant. He was just always there. He was always serving on committees. He was offering advice to presidents, board members, and even held some special meetings at his home with boards and presidents and past presidents when we were discussing possible changes to the club. And so he was just always active. And the thing is, he was one of the most humble people I know. I think he was adverse to being recognized. And he just handled things, like I said, as a gentle giant, quietly behind the scenes most often. But as was brought up, he was the one who carried on the Christmas program. And when I joined the club in 1985, it was known as the Maud Booth program. And Maud Booth was a school in the North Valley where many of the students, although it was many students who deserved financial aid of some type, but the school was known because it didn't, the people who attended there didn't have any financial assistance. So our shopping was just very important. And Mike did that for so many years. And after the meetings or after the shopping, we would all go to his house where he and Sheila and others would serve chili, and we just have a wonderful Christmas meal after our shopping spree. So to our gentle giant, just keep him in your prayers. He has 2 children, and Sheila, of course, was, I said, always supportive, and Ron or some others may have something else to say before we have our thought for the day.
Well, I know the services are going to be tomorrow at 2, but I do not know where, so it doesn't help much. If I learn, I will send out an email to everybody, but I just don't know. I have to say, Mike, you did a great job of summarizing in so few words. It takes so much time to talk about Mike Usom. He did so much in the club. He was loved by so many people, me included.
Well, thank you both, Ron and Mike, for your comments. I know when I first joined the club that Mike Usom was very supportive of everything I was, doing, and just a really great guy. And so Ron will keep us, if he finds out anything about tomorrow, let us all know. And Dwight Hekela, our thought for today is from Dwight Hekela, who joined the club January 24th in 2008. And Dwight, take it away.
Thank you, Past President Marcia. I think we need more than one thought in these troubled times, so I'll give you a handful of short ones. From our friend, the sage Mark Twain, who says, "Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you rather would have talked." It is curious that physical courage should be so common in the world and moral courage so rare. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Don't wait. The time will never be just right. And very apropos, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything, referring, of course, to lies one might tell. And how many residents of Washington, D.C. can't remember much about January 6th? Thank you.
Thank you, Dwight, very much. And of course, there's our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Ed Gold, are you on here? Ed, unmute yourself if you are. I haven't seen.
I just unmuted.
Oh, you just. Oh, okay.
I
All right.
Yeah, I'm sad about Mike Newsom. He was certainly helped us a lot with our plumbing problems. I'm going to sing a short song, God Bless America. And here I go. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her from the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, wide with home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ed. And guests, are there any guests? First of all, I know we have a few visiting Rotarians. Anybody bring a guest today? Well, we'll introduce our speaker in a few minutes. But I know we have our district governor, Gitti, is here with us today, and also a member of it's Manhattan Beach, right? Kathleen, you there? Of the Manhattan Beach Club, Kathleen. Do we have any other visiting Rotarian? I know we have a visiting Rotaractor today too. And do you want to say hello real quick?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Kelly.
So
I've been introducing so many times, so sorry if it's repetitive. But
yeah, you're one of us now, okay? I should stop introducing you. And so any other visiting Rotarians? I can't see everybody on my screen right now. But we do have a very important announcement to announce right off the bat. And that is happy birthday to Gitti Chavid yesterday, our district governor. A little girl told me about that. So happy birthday, Gitti.
Thank you. You're embarrassing me, Marcia. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Well, you're one of my favorite people, you know.
Well, likewise. Right back at you, my dear. Right back at you.
Well, thank you. And now on with our announcements. And Camp Pendleton, Diana, I don't know if you want to speak more about this, but Camp Pendleton collection of donated items ends on the 24th, and today's the 21st, so you just have 3 more days. So there's still time to get there. And Diane, do you know where they take any items? Take the items?
So you need to go onto the district website to see who's accepting the donations now.
Okay. All right. So if you have donations, let's not forget about those. And then foundation education session number 4, the foundation giving, is October 27th, which is next Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30. And you can go again on the district website to find out more about that. I just wanted to throw it out there to everybody. And don't forget our foundation celebration. I don't know if Steve Day wants to talk any more about that. Steve, do you have any comments?
Well, I have some very good news in terms of amounts we raised. I'm looking at my numbers right now, and I'm about to turn in some more books. We're at $5,600 right now for our club. So, and money and tickets and the like are coming in. So I'm guardedly optimistic. We don't get quite to where we were last year. We'll get pretty darn close. So I think we're doing a great job. So if you haven't yet indicated that you wish to buy tickets, I've been sending out emails and texts and all that kind of thing. Please let me know. Put something on the chat here and let me know. I mean, at this point, if necessary, we can put it on your bill, and Terry will charge you for it, and we'll front the money for your tickets, and it'll be on your next bill, and you will get properly credited for your Paul Harris Fellow, and I will prepare your raffle tickets for you. So it's real simple, guys. Real simple. Just say, Steve, I want 1 book, and boom, it's all taken care of. And then on the dinner tickets, again, love to get a couple more couples to fill out that second table. So if you're interested, please let me know. It's $150 per ticket at this point from our club. I mean, from you. It's $150. So per person. So please let me know. It's going to be a wonderful evening. I'm looking forward to it. And I know all the others that are going with us they'll be there as well from our club. Are going to have a great time. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, very much.
You're very welcome.
And Ron
Steve?
wanted, I mean, not
Yes.
Ron, Tom.
Yes. I
What?
hear a voice out there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Steve really fast if he just explained when the Gandhi Trust matches the people who buy tickets,
Oh, yeah.
how that affects their Paul Harris.
Sure. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, when you buy your raffle books through the Gandhi Trust, which Mike oversees as its trustee, he'll match the trust matches your donation to the Rotary Foundation. So Mike issues a check cumulative of all the people who bought tickets from our club equal to your amount. So if you bought 2 books, $200, he'll match through the Gandhi Trust $200. So your Paul Harris for that will be $200 that you're putting in, but also you'll be credited with the $200 that the foundation, the trust is putting in on your name too. And so we've been doing that for a number of years, Mike has, which has been very generous. And so it really gets you to that next level for your Paul Harris Fellow, become a multiple +3, +4, whatever happens to be. So yes, thanks, Mike, for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike and Steve.
Thanks.
And Tom Barron wanted me to remind everybody that we're not going to be meeting in person at the Luskin Center until further notice due to the COVID-19 issues going on. The Luskin Center came to this decision, not us, but anyway, so don't show up there next week, okay? And also our Christmas shopping spree with Westwood Transitional Village. We were talking about a bit in the chat there. And that's going to be December 2nd, but sign up now with Phil Gabriel. Everybody knows Phil, he's on this call. And so please make sure you get in contact with him or Diane, okay?
Can I expand
Yes, you
on that?
may, Phil.
Okay, so it's actually the actual dinner date. It's going to be the second Thursday. I think we do the second Thursday of the month. I think it'll be the 9th.
The 9th, okay.
But what we do a little bit differently, so similar to last year, is you can come to the center and meet your kid, meet your child, and actually go on a computer there. You want to go to Amazon or you want to go to Walmart site or whatever site, and you guys can work together to purchase the gifts. I think it might be easier to have them sent to your house rather than send them to the center, because that might overwhelm the staff at the Salvation Army. So I think if you just have it sent to your own house, and then I think it'd be a lot easier if we could gift wrap them, and then bring them to the center, or you can bring them to my store and I'll bring them to the center, either way. Or we can arrange to have you do a Zoom meeting with the child, and you can kind of interview them, how many sisters they have, brothers, what parents are in the household, the age, and maybe a little bit about what their siblings like. That can be like a 15-minute conversation probably. So you have 2 options. You'll be able to go into the center and actually sit down at a computer and order the stuff right then and there, or you can do a Zoom meeting, which you'll have to arrange with Diane. I'm hoping that's still an option. And I'd like to try and get people to commit by the first week in November, so we get so that Diane knows how many kids that she can sign up for this. So if by next week, but the week after, the first Thursday of November, if we can get a firm commitment, and we usually need like 22 people, 22 to 24 people. Some people have in the past have done two kids. So if you're a veteran at this, and you can always do that. Maybe meet them both at the center. Sorry, I'm talking so much, but there's just a lot to talk about. So yeah, if you think you can do 2 kids, fantastic. Try and maybe have a meeting with both kids at the same time, the same day. Diana, do you want to pipe in here with anything?
No, Phil, I think you have it covered. You did a great job.
Okay. So let's kind of tentatively set a deadline for the first Thursday of November. If you could send me an email or you can send Diana an email. I just need to know by then who's going to commit. And like I said, 22 people hopefully would be good. And if you're willing to do 2 kids, just mention that to us. My email, I'll put it in the chat box. I'll put my email in the chat box in a second here.
So Phil, is there a cost? Is there a dollar amount you want
Oh,
to express?
Yeah, normally it's been $50 per child, which has been in the past reimbursed from the club. I don't know, Terry, is that being done again? Is the club reimbursing for the $50 per kid?
Yeah, it's still part of the foundation's budget, yes.
Okay, so yeah, it's $50, but sometimes it goes over $10, $15. You'd be responsible for anything they go over. It's just sometimes $5, sometimes $10, sometimes $15. And since you do it online, you just need to somehow forward your receipt to Terry. And maybe take a screenshot of the receipt and send it over to Terry, and then he can deduct it from your dues in the following statement. So yeah, there's a $50 fee or a payment for each kid, but like I said, sometimes you will go, especially if they have multiple siblings, and sometimes it's hard to stay under $50. I just found out this great store in Culver City called the Dollar Store. It's right on Sepulveda, I believe, and they have got a ton of stuff. And just like tons and tons of stuff there, and brand name stuff too. So that might be an option. They got, it's an amazing little store. It's kind of tucked into a shopping center. Anyhow, so anyone have any quick questions for me?
Phil, it's Terry. Let me just clarify that the club will pay $50 of each child's purchases. Anything above that is on the member, and you don't need to tell us about it. It's just on you. The other question, Phil, are we doing anything about dinner this year?
Well, I've already arranged to have dinner catered, so I'm going to bring a catered dinner to the site like I did last year.
Good.
It's probably going to be headlines. I think they did a decent job with hamburgers and fries. I just pick it up and drop it off. Diana, how do you feel about if some members want to show up for that dinner? Is that something you're interested in, or is that just not going to happen?
No, right now we're fine with it.
Okay, so I suppose some of the members, if you want to come to the dinner, let me know, and I'll add an extra meal on there.
Right, and we simply asked if the members attend the dinner, which is what we used to do before pre-COVID. The member will pay for their own dinner. It's pretty small, like $15 or something.
But I think I actually do it for like $12 per person. So yeah, if you want to come to the center that day, and like I said, it should be December 9th. I think that's the second Thursday of the month. You're welcome to attend. I usually get there around 5:30 to 5:30 and 6. If you want to come and see your kids, then you can. And just let me know in advance so I can get an extra meal for you. So that's it. We'll carry on with our guest speaker.
Thank you, Phil and Terry and Diane. And at this point, I'd like to bring on Tom Barron, past President Tom Barron, who will introduce our guest speaker this evening.
Thank you, Marcia. Before I formally introduce William Bridge, I don't know whether she's on or not, but the Director of Business Development for Global Green is Sarah Teven. I have
not seen her yet, unless she's
okay.
Sarah,
Well, anyway,
if you're on here.
she's the one who put together this program with John O'Keefe, and so my hat goes off to her for helping out in this forum. Anyway, it is my pleasure to introduce William Bridge, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Global Green USA, which is an environmental organization, and is also chairman of Green Cross International Board of Directors. Global Green is a subsidiary of Green Cross and is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Bill has 25 years of executive leadership and strategic planning for environmental and educational partnerships. He has worked with the United Nations Foundation, Connect for Climate, Entertainment Industry Foundation, and the United States Green Building Council. His areas of effort include the fight for climate change, bringing awareness on how we can preserve the planet, big job, and help disaster relief from California wildfires. Now, I mentioned partnerships. That is important because on his website, you see the mission of Global Green is to focus on integrating the shared interest of people, places, and the planet through partnerships. In fact, his team includes our own David Stover, who a new member to our Rotary Club. Thank you, David. Bill graduated from Villanova University and received an MBA from the prestigious Wharton School of Business. He is dedicated to bringing forth the legacy and mission of Green Cross as laid down by the one and only Mikhail Gorbachev in 1993. So today, Bill is going to talk about a little bit of that legacy and also what Global Green is all about, and give us this information. So you're up, Bill.
Thank you, sir. I feel like I'm done. Thanks everyone so much. And I'm a humble servant for the planet, and please call me Bill. And Dave, you started this journey, and Dave Stover, really appreciate the opportunity to come on board and just chat with you guys a little bit about what we're doing, and really just appreciate it. And what I really would like this to be is just an opportunity to have more of just a dialogue and maybe a little bit of a Q&A in terms of what Global Green and Green Cross are doing right now for helping planet Earth, and just allow all of you guys to learn a little bit more about our organization. Really starting off, super excited about the fact that we became a partner with Rotary a little over a year ago, and we're positioned in with LA5. And one of the things that I would just like to say to all of you is that the love and the heartfelt community that I feel around all of you being part of LA5, but how that clearly resonates through the whole Rotary family. I'm truly touched and honored, and it's my honor to be here today and just chat a little bit about our organization and see what we can all do together for planet Earth. So again, a really strong introduction. Let me do a little bit of legacy, some of the things that were not covered with regard to President Gorbachev, but coming off of the Reagan years and the end of the Cold War, bringing down the Berlin Wall and all these just global epic experiences, Gorbachev in and around 91 had a vision that he wanted to create something that would resonate and help people understand the dire need to help our planet at a critical, just 911 type of level, very similar to what the Red Cross is doing for human beings. So that was the impetus and the birth of Green Cross International, was a Red Cross for the planet, thus the name Green Cross. And Global Green is actually one in the same. We are the US affiliate for Green Cross International, just do not trade under Green Cross US. We trade under Global Green. So with that being said, in the early years, the mission was all about awareness, and we're going back more or less early 90s. I think that a lot of people thought of in the environmental movement as grape nuts, tree hugging, and those folks that wandered around in Birkenstocks hugging trees. That was clearly something that had to change. And President Gorbachev took it upon himself, not only in Russia and what he had done there and in other parts of the country, but to come to the US and actually go to different cities, more so East Coast, West Coast driven, for people to learn about his vision and learn about things that needed to happen as it relates to the climate. What I think that we do that stands out to give you more of an understanding of who we are is we try to get in at a very, very high level, either with a city or with a state or with an innovative product. And we try to drive awareness to regular people about educating them in terms of ways we can all partner together to make this a better planet and certainly a more sustainable planet. One of the things that comes to mind for me that we did very early on is we used the power of celebrity in Los Angeles to drive awareness around what was at that time a very strange looking vehicle that is now very much a part of our life when we think of eco transport is the Toyota Prius. And when the Toyota Prius was that, what is that thing? We were out there putting celebrities behind it, bringing awareness and teaching people about how to drive more eco-friendly transportation. That in turn has been the cornerstone of what we try to do is work with cities, work with states, implement policy change to do better things for our planet, and drive awareness around catalytic programs and projects. Staying in the transport lane, one of the things that we're doing now is we're looking at the hybrid with hydrogen versus electric. And Toyota has a product out there you may be familiar with called the Mirai. Hydrogen is going to be a next level of where we're going in terms of improvements with reducing carbon, how we can help our planet become better, healthier, and more sustainable. So if I were elevator pitching with you about who we are an awareness engine trying to get in at as high of a level as possible and leveraging catalytic programs, projects, partnerships to drive the message home about protecting our planet and making it a safer, better place for ourselves and our children and those who aren't born at this point yet. I don't want to ramble too much. That's kind of where we are right now. And I think that if I were to tell you what's news for us right now in terms of what we're working on, more so than something else would be a project that we started with the Environmental Protection Agency back in 2012 and going into cities all over the United States and working with the underserved communities within those cities, bringing city officials in, holding workshops and figuring out how do we get into the hardest hit communities at a grassroots level where we're able to raise their voice, let them have a seat at the table and make their community and in turn their city and their decision makers within the city more environmentally safe, friendly, and a more desirable place for all to live within the city. So coming off of COVID, we're getting back into the swing of things and really starting to ramp up. We're working with the state of California right now around an energy awareness program where we're reaching out to underserved communities throughout the state of California and giving them some helpful educational tips on how to be more aware of very simple things they can do to cut their energy bill so that they're in a position where they have some extra savings at the end of the month that they can apply towards their family for healthier food, clothing, resources that they need to help their family and support them. So I think that is a lot, and I apologize for hopefully not rambling too much, but I'd love to open this up and I would love to hear from all of you and just use this as more of a Q&A than me kind of sitting here and doing a pulpit preaching. And again, really appreciate this opportunity and would love to learn more about you and help you learn more about us. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And I think we have our first question from Phil Gabriel.
Yeah, I don't know if this falls under your domain, but the city of LA is trying to launch a test pilot of resurfacing streets with like cooling material. It allegedly helps make the area around there like a few degrees cooler. Is that something you're in favor of? Does that work? What's your take on that?
Good question. know of it. Where we've been asked to get involved is with LA Department of Transportation around an improved level of beautification with the streets within the city. But I do know of that. I just, there's so much resources that need to happen in order to apply a deeper, lower layer of work that needs to happen. When I look, and this is just me giving you my opinion at just a completely different level, we need more trees. We need more trees in LA. We have way too much cement. The canopy cover for the city of LA there's some areas that are just really in dire need of shade. And
so let me just tag on to that. Would you think the resources would be better spent planting more trees and than the roads, than covering the roads with that material? Do you think it's more useful?
I
for the trees?
personally would plant more trees.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think it's critical, but I think we need trees more.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Bill, I have a question. It's really, maybe this is outside of the arena you want to talk about, but I keep looking at various statistics, et cetera, like that with respect to climate change. And one thing that bothers me is that the extrapolation of data out into the future by computer models, et cetera, like that, shows a disaster. And Bjorn Lomborg had an article today in the Wall Street Journal, and he points out the fact that year 2000, and he talked about specifically about sea levels. And year 2000, you have 3.4 million people were flooded, and they extrapolate out to year 2100, 80 years from now, that 187 million people will be flooded out of existence. And instead of a cost of 11 billion, currently it'll be 55 trillion. But his whole point was adaptation, that communities, governments, people will change. And if you take it and adapt to things, you build higher, with respect to sea levels, people build higher dikes and things. That those statistics are way out of line with what, if you adapt. And instead of 187 million people be affected by flooding, it's only 15,000 people if you adapt. Now, what do you think about that? I mean, that's scare tactics, when in fact CNN and Washington Post took that data, printed it out, and that's just scaremongering, when in fact things change, but they don't change that significantly if you adapt to the environment.
It's interesting you bring that up, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. And our organization 15 years ago was into scare tactics. Scare tactics do not work. People do not come together and create solutions. It creates frustration. It creates fragmentation. I think lifestyle is a major issue right now, that is a collective place where we can do good, helping people understand normal, everyday lifestyle tips that are going to take the wear and tear off of this planet. And that's not happening. We have a lot of breakdown and lack of unity with partners, with federal, with state, at very simple, high success opportunities that are right there before us. And I appreciate your feedback. And our mission lives at the underserved level. We are not going to fight the battle of back and forth around data and statistics. The things that concern us are the people that don't have a voice, that don't know what they don't know, and being able to go in and help stabilize their community, and in turn create a greater good that works its way through the rest of the city. And that requires communication through workshops, through planning, through education, and getting the city and the state in at a level where they're hearing it from a level they may never listen to before. And that is a hell of a battle, but it is one worth fighting. And that's kind of the cornerstone where we come in. So totally agree with you. And I think there's a lot of noise that's not creating solution.
let me follow up with that. On your website, when you first enter, it has, your website shows we have less than 10 years to work together. What happens in 10 years?
I think when I state 10 years, what I'm referencing is partnerships and a greater good for a larger level of impact. So let me give you an example. The Amazon forest, for example, and what's happening down there politically, all kinds of issues. If we don't break down those issues and figure out how to get a lot of trees in the ground and plant them effectively, plant them with trees that are indigenous to the planet and that particular community, the Amazon is the lungs of our planet. We've got to start at really big levels now in order to move the needle at that 10-year period of time. It's not going to happen with Global Green. It's going to happen with partnerships. It's going to happen with those that come in together with Global Green to be able to make things like that happen. We have lost, I don't want to go into the scare tactic, but we've lost 900 million trees over the course of time in the Amazon forest, and they continue to be taken down. We have got to have conversations with people to be able to come up with a happy medium where people can survive, they can make a living, they can do what they need to do, but start to reverse some of the damage and start to increase the level of planning. We have an office in Brazil, and they go through a lot to try to get work done down there. And that's another example of a breakdown. So when I mentioned to you about 10 years, I'm talking about we've got to move some major needles over the next 10 years. And the Amazon is near and dear to me. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you.
Yep.
I had to take myself off of mute. I have a question, two questions actually. What is the, what was that car you were talking about, the hydrogen car?
The Mirai.
How do you spell that?
M-I-R-E, the Toyota Mirai, M-I-R-A-I, I believe.
Okay, Toyota, it's a Toyota.
Yeah.
Look into that. I've been driving a Prius for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, and thank you for that, Marcia. And part of the challenge around education and awareness is when fully electrified vehicles that required charging, and the market was trying to bring in electric vehicles, they were doing boutique charging stations that basically were not set up for everyday Joe, everyday Jane to be able to buy an electric car and be able to find an easy place to charge it. Those things are changing, which is great. And a lot of that has to do with local, state, and that's part of what we try to do is we try to drive awareness around things that need to happen in order for everyone to be able to take advantage of a decision to buy a fully electric car. But the Mirai is now this new step that they're moving towards with hydrogen, again, going through the same learning curves that fully electric vehicles were going through at that time. And it's going to take some time, and there's a mixed review about what people think of hydrogen. But if it's done appropriately and barriers are not put up with regard to being able to implement systems and fueling stations, it's certainly going to be a benefit for the planet.
Thank you. I'll come back to my second question. Giddy, did you have a question? Your hand is up.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Bill, I have a question regarding these electric cars. How are these batteries currently being disposed of? And are we looking at an environmentally safe way of disposing these batteries?
It's a big issue. And the answer is sometimes. And Tesla is trying to improve their footprint. But Giddy, we have a long way to go. It's not where it should be.
Now, I was asked the question and I didn't have the answer, so I thought you'd be the best person for me to ask. Okay.
Yeah, the systems and the protocol with recycling, with disposal, with safety in general, there's still a lot of ground that has to be done there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'll ask my second question. Okay, we're all in a bunch of all families here, you know, And what is something like a family in Los Angeles that they can do to help the environment, in addition to planting, a tree or so every year? And what's something that a family can do to help with the environment at their house or their apartment or their condo or wherever they live?
So there's very basic things that people can do that will make a big difference. The challenge is, and this is not a catch-22, I just want to be fully transparent with you because we still have a long way to go, is reducing plastic. That is a big part of what we need to do. The packaging, everything that we do and what we use around plastic, Marcia, the problem with that is not easy. That is not easy, and it's also expensive. So if you have a regular family that they're both, hardworking mom and dad with a few kids, and they want to try to go plastic free, that's a very expensive decision to make. And that's one of the things that we try to do with Global Green is get partners involved where we can get more access to products that are plastic free at a level and a price range that people can afford to be able to make that difference. But if we're going, and I hate to sound negative because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that space, but to just give you a very simple generic answer, it would be big time reduction of plastic, obviously. Looking at the food consumption that goes on as a family and eliminating wasted food. Food waste is a major problem in this country. Close to 40% of our food is wasted. And I can send you guys some information on that, and learning how to compost. And that's another process that we try to do in multifamily buildings, where we will bring eco ambassadors in that will help teach people food that can be composted that then goes to a landfill and then becomes part of the cycle, versus food that we need to dispose of and we're not able to compost. So removal of plastic, reduction of wasted food, and being really conscious about purchases, whether it's particular clothing, lifestyle choices that are taking a drain on our planet. And a lot of this, again, going back, I don't want to be this pro-con, but we don't have enough resources out there for regular people to be as sustainable as they could be. And that's a situation we really need to tackle. And we try to do that with our city projects and programs and workshops, is make a big difference in that space.
Thank you very much. That's
Absolutely.
3 good ideas. And Kelly, our Rotaractor here, would like to ask a question. Take yourself off mute. There you go.
Yeah. So this is my area of study. I'm in my last year at UCLA on environmental policy and related things. So I'm just curious if you have opportunities for like recent graduates or anything like that in your program.
Absolutely. We believe in bringing people in, certainly much younger than me, and bringing in really talented people that are going to be able to use their skills and their expertise to be able to help, continue this fight. And and thank you. And if you, Marcia has my email, Gidi has my email, Kathleen has my email, Dave, feel free to
reach through
me, and I'd love to help you out. We have a big battle to fight, and it's research. It's being able to go to cities that are now willing to affect change, but they need to see bottom line. They need to see a pathway to get to a brighter tomorrow. And these are things that Global Green can do. And the way that we do this is through research that our amazingly talented team helps us with, and would love to be able to support you. And thank you for your interest to support us.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about the Sustainable Neighborhood Project, and like if we wanted to do one in Westwood, what would it potentially do for Westwood, and could there be a role for the Westwood Rotary Group in that process?
Absolutely. I think what you would need to do is determine the neighborhood or the community that you would want to focus on. And once there would be an understanding of that particular community, then what we could do is we could put together a roadmap, Dave, on how to put a workshop in place, get some corporations to support Westwood Rotary, to get them to support the launch of the workshop, and then bring the people in at that community level, bringing in as well the people at the top, having a conversation between the two, and putting a series of recommendations together to help improve the area from an environmental standpoint. And I'm just a messenger, guys. I'm just trying to spread the word and help make a difference and move the needle. And I'm honored enough and humbled enough to know that my team and the people that are around us do incredible work. And I'm just a guy out there trying to save the planet. So I would definitely introduce and make all the connections to be able to help you guys with qualified program associates and advisors that would be able to get the project off the ground.
Tom, you have a question?
I did. On a global scale, I may be absolutely wrong with this data, but I thought the US is planting and we have more trees than we did 100 years ago. I thought that was the case. And as far as plastics go, frankly, a lot of the products we consume and buy are from China and places like that, which don't give a hoot about the atmosphere and the field. That seems to me a bigger problem is China and the other ones who haven't reduced their changed at all to benefit the climate.
Yep. Yeah. And you know what it is? It's harsh steps that need to be taken initially at a micro level, and then continue to break those out. And I'll give you an example. It may not be the best example, but Malibu 2 or 3 years ago banned all plastic straws. Basically, you're done. There's no plastic straws. So then what that does is that creates an influx of product for people that are going to be able to put biodegradable, eco-friendly straws out to retail, out to consumers within that city. We need to be local. You're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that we try to do with our city programs is support all the locals within the city to support the needs of those cities. I couldn't agree with you more about China, and it's a big, big problem. And that's a battle that we have to fight at a higher level. And we're not there yet, but we need to go there.
Hey guys, can I just say something about China? Is this just recently they're starting a grassroots campaign to work on their environmental issues. So they're starting to come around. They have a ways to go, but I think we're going to see the needle move in the next couple of years. They definitely have some new programs in place, and they're trying. They have a ways to go, but I think they're starting to come around.
You know, and I really appreciate that, because the come around is so important in terms of making the shift. There has to be an interruption. The interruption has to come at a level that will create a sustainable and ongoing interruption. And then once that takes place, then other things will start to come together. I agree with you. And that's one of the reasons that policy and what we're able to do at a federal level is so important, that it doesn't get gridlocked with bureaucracy and pontification and things that need to open up the floodgates to make this change. And if I were 35, 40 years younger, I would work on strikes with kids and getting the kids out there on the steps to fight the battle that Greta's trying to fight, Greta Thunberg, because those are things that happen, and those are things that make and affect the change. And I hate to say it, but in a certain way, and I'm not trying to be rogue here, but there's a certain level of shaming that we're not doing, and we're scratching each other's backs more so than we should be when we should be pointing fingers and making a difference. And we need to shake it up. And I think that the best way to do it is with our young amazing climate advocates, because they're the ones that are unfortunately going to be left with what we have in 30, 40 years from now.
Yeah,
Mike.
when Tom brought up plastics, it just really struck me because recently my wife and I were talking about how everything from our liquid detergents to just about most of your foods, your milk, everything's coming in plastic containers. And then I hear, we're going to have a glass shortage. So I don't know if that's the alternative. And I was kind of shocked because I thought a lot of our plastic gets recycled. And then I hear, some of the bottling companies or Pepsi or whatever saying, oh, our plastic is, but the others aren't. What can be done? It's really hitting me harder how many of our products are just plastic.
Yep. It's going in, and I don't want to use the word shaming for this, but what the corporate suppliers need to be looking at their sustainability practices, and it's not about what's going to look good for the annual report. It's about really pulling back the veil and seeing where the breakdown is and really putting some money in to make the change with regard to the improvements. Long way to go. I certainly don't, under any set of circumstances, want this to be a downer conversation, but we have to fight, and we really need to fight hard over a short period of time. And that's our 10-year thing. We just really, in so many different ways, this is the time. Everyone is so much more conscious than we've been in a long time. And we need to be consistent. We need to fight hard, and we need to bring professionals in that understand what we need to do to affect that change, hire them, and make the difference. And I couldn't agree with you more. I don't want to go on a bent here, but Amazon has a wonderful opportunity to create a search bar that is geared completely towards eco-friendly purchases. And they could break that down like they do with everything else at a very affordable level to those that want to spend, $10 for sustainable toilet paper, whatever that is. There needs to be a continuum, and there needs to be a catalytic change and system in place where people can learn how to be more environmentally responsible through a simple methodology, like something that our friend Mr. Bezos can do.
Are there any immediate solutions to all the packaging in plastic? Are there other types of containers that really could be switched to quickly?
Quickly is the key word. And I would be more than happy to send out to all of you one of our major partners, which is an organization out of Santa Monica called Sustainable Works. And this is what they focus on. And that's one of our major partners that we lean on. And I'm happy to connect you guys so you can learn more. Again, I'm just a guy that's out there trying to move people to make a difference. And I would be more than happy to connect you with people that could give you exactly what you need in terms of the information. But you're right. It's a problem.
Phil.
Yeah, another question. I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot about 5 to 7 years ago when China and Vietnam stopped taking our recyclables, because we were sending them stuff that was contaminated with nuclear waste, syringes, baby diapers. And so China and the Vietnam just said, stop, we're not taking it anymore. So is there a way to resume that and make sure that we're sending them good, clean recyclables, or is that just off the table now?
It's a system that is going to have to be worked out through the supply chain. You're going to have people that are going to have to bring it into effect. And you're going to have to look at the bottom line. And I would never say never, but that's going to be something we're going to have to fight at a much higher level. And there's a lot of problems out there. I don't want to be that negative guy that you guys brought on as a speaker, but I'm extremely
You're the truthful guy.
Was frustrated with what's happening with this planet. And the hope and the optimism that comes up for me is that we're having conversations like this and we're not blind to it. The aftermath is a consistent commitment to be able to make and affect the change and move it at a level that we're going to have to break down the walls to get to the right people. And we try to do that. We work very hard at that. And that's one of the reasons why we were able to bring some pretty impressive people in early on in our organization through the vision and the support of President Gorbachev. But they're the levels we need to hit.
Thank you very much. Dwight, we just have a couple minutes.
I would add one very big bright spot about China. I think most people don't know. I just found this out in the last month, but they brought in more solar power.
Yes, they have.
Gigawatts by far than any other country. They need it more because they're killing their citizens with their pollution.
Yeah.
And at the rate they're going, no guarantee that they're going to continue this rate, but at the rate they're going, within 10 years, they may have all their transportation run on solar power. I don't know how that's going to work in a country that size, but that's extrapolating the rate. That's a bigger contribution than any other country has made by far.
Yeah.
So when it's got them by the throat, the Chinese aren't stupid and they're going to help out too.
Yeah, really good point. And I think that what hasn't happened is we're not having conversations on a country. We have the COP conversations, obviously. We have Glasgow coming up next month. We have the climate accord. We're making changes. We're creating an eruption. What has to happen, though, and it goes to your point, which is so true, is this has to happen through, in my opinion, the economy, through and through, not just as they focus on electric, but what's happening with waste, what's happening with the removal of waste, what's happening with plastic, what's happening with their distribution centers. And we do that with our organization more on a micro level, more within the United States than we do in other countries. But it's communication, it's sitting down, it's creating leverage to change policy, advocacy, to do so. But you're right. And we have to wrestle with, where will we be going? Will we be going with these scattered levels of success that can ultimately result in a greater good? Or can we systematically, as a planet, work country by country, state by state, city by city, coming up with a more inclusive system where the whole chain is being covered and not just shiny objects within the chain? But I completely agree with you. It's good. It's just that we need to go deeper.
Thank you. And I just wanted to point, Kelly, our Rotaractor, put in the chat that Grove Collaborative is a good company to look into for household products made for sustainability. And also for the last 3 years, I've been getting all my paper products. I wish they'd change their name because my grandkids tease me about it all the time, but it's called Who Gives a Crap, and it's toilet paper and paper towels and Kleenex. I just happen to have right here. And it's all made out of bamboo. I hope bamboo is good. Is that good?
Bamboo is good.
Okay.
Bamboo is
And
good.
also I get laundry detergent in an envelope that gets delivered through the mail. It's just in an envelope and it comes in little papers that you drop in the laundry. You can go and look for all this stuff. Just go online and put in sustainable laundry soap or whatever you're looking for.
Absolutely, Marcia. We're still building our directory, but if you go to Global Green, we have a directory and you can find some of those other organizations as well, companies that have a commitment to sustainability from a product standpoint, clothing. We have quite a few on there. And again, this kind of goes back to the conversation that I had and how I feel about what Amazon could do as a company if they were able to create that portal where you can go and you can price it out at different levels and you're vetting those companies and making sure that their sustainability practices, their distribution points, everything are spot on with how to help our planet. And what an easier way to go than having to dig around and try to find a source or rely on a friend of a friend or a referral. And that's an area that really needs to to button up, and just overall awareness on where to find the products, and utilize them throughout your lifestyle.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. This was a great program today. And in your honor, we are making a donation to the Westwood Village Library.
Nice.
And, right over there on Glendon. And thank you so much. And we'll send out some emails with some of this information. And we really appreciate you being here.
Well,
and so without further ado, it's 1:30 and ding. Okay.
Thank
we'll
you.
see you all next week. What?
Thank you, Team Rotary. You guys are just amazing, and I'm just so happy that I'm part of your family. And like I said, I'm just a guy, but I have an amazing team behind me. That if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'm available, and whatever we can do to support, and we'll continue to support you guys too. So thank you.
Thank you. All
All
right.
right.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Take care.
And we'll see you next Thursday.